Welcome back, guys. It is time for map number 2. Of course, that does mean moving into our second group, Group B. FaZe won the first one in Group A along with Na'Vi, but now it's time to switch it over. It's Virtus.Pro Astralis, which we'll talk a little bit about, their new organization, Mousesports and Dignitas, and it's going to be Mouse MVP that we show you on stream. Guys, YK, Vendetta again, how you feeling? How are we looking in Group B?
Well, feeling fine. Group B should be a really exciting one. I think, oddly enough, I think Mousesports might be the odd one out here. They've gone through some changes. They've lost their coach that was supposed to be their new in-game leader. So they're in a bit of a turmoil. Obviously, you know Nico very well, so you probably have the inside scoop on what's going on there.
Yeah, I mean, you were spot on. I mean, initially they decided to remove Gob B because apparently he wasn't willing to put in the work to improve individually as well. So they were relying on Capio to be the coach / in-game leader for the team, but apparently he got a job offer he couldn't refuse, you know, as you'd say. So yeah, he couldn't commit full time, and now Nico is actually the one who is doing the in-game leading for the team in this kind of a transition period. But they are adamant about, you know, that not being long term. They're trying to find someone who's going.
Yeah,
to
and obviously you played with Nico in iNation. If we go a couple of years back, and I think it was you as the in-game leader in that team.
Yeah.
So having played with Nico, do you think you can actually do in-game leading at this type of level?
I think he can do it to an extent, but the point is he's not the guy you want to, you know, burden with doing the in-game leading, because he can bring so much value to your team by doing his thing,
yeah,
and only focusing on his thing that, you know, you burden him with having to call as well.
For others.
You know, it's a whole different ball game, and you know, imagine having to put Olof as an in-game leader role as well. You know, give it to him, because that's the space Nico can create for you with his, you know, aggressive play style, with his entry fragging, you know, capabilities. He just forces the opposing team to react to him and to play around him. And if you have an in-game leader who is, you know, capable of realizing that and exploiting it properly, then you can, you know, do amazing things with it.
Yeah.
But now they have a double deficit. They don't have a true dedicated in-game leader, and he is, you know, cannot. I mean, we'll have to see, but it's gonna basically, you know, take something away from him, from his performance probably.
The weird thing with Mousesports to me too is, and we're gonna take a look at the teams here in a second, is just how much talent they've had go through that lineup. Alu was there to point, Kerrigan was there to point, and yet even with all these guys, and as well as now Nico, and they've obviously just like Gabigo brought Speedy back for a second stint, they've still never been able to find the success that everyone kind of expects out of them. Even when Penta had the former core, they were the better German team at Majors, oddly enough.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny actually that with all these changes, there was an interview with Happy when he mentioned or talked about the old Mousesports lineups even before they brought in Nicolino. That was a team that everybody wasn't really comfortable playing against, because they could easily upset someone at that point. I don't think they have that kind of potential right now. And that's a sad thing, because you said it, they have great players in their team. We saw, you know, the burst of Next onto the scene, doing extreme things that we just didn't think we could see from a German side. And he brought that in. Now he gets paired up with the best players in Germany. Everyone's expecting Mousesports to be the next big thing coming out of Germany and kind of regaining the German pride that they've been known to have in 1.6. So just really weird, and I don't see an upward trajectory for them going further.
I mean, they had some good results here and there, like they made it to the finals of Civo LAN, where they actually played.
That was a good run, actually.
They actually played Virtus.Pro, but then in the finals they lost 3-0, 16-8, 16-8, 16-4, so that was a complete stomp.
Yeah.
We have to remember that in Cluj, though, I mean, it was, you know, a round or two away from actually passing the group stages, knocking out the
G2.
Now FaZe, who then made it to the semifinal, almost made it to the final. So they had, you know, close runs here and there, but I agree that their biggest problem is most likely inconsistency, and of their players as well.
We'll come back to them in a minute. First team we're going to preview is Virtus.Pro, their opponent. Now, we haven't seen these guys in a bit of time, Vendetta, so they're always steady. They play a lot, but how much is that going to affect them?
It's always going to be an issue. Well, probably more for us, but here we have the lineup, and then we can start. On the left here, we have Snacks, rated or ranked as the 4th best player in 2015, so definitely a guy to look out for. Probably, I think it's safe to say he's their best players. Then we have Pasha next to him, kind of a do-it-all man. Used to be their primary operator, now he's kind of sharing that role with Neo, who's in the middle, also, you know, known as the god of 1.6. Next to him, we have Bialy, one of the newcomers together with Snacks, even though they've been together for quite some time by now, so it's not really newcomer.
Yeah, I think a year and 8 months it's been for this roster, which is crazy.
Yeah, and you know, at the very end you have Big Papa Taz, who's had a bit of a bump in how he plays. He's been stepping up as of late compared to, you know, at some point people were talking about they should remove Taz because he wasn't performing individually to what you'd expect of the DP player, but no, they've all been playing pretty well as of late. But it's like you said, having a 2-month break, because they had a pretty much a similar lengthy break as G2. And that could always throw things off. They could either come off, like, you know, we talk about the Virtus.Pro, it could really be a well-oiled machine coming out from this break, or it could just be full of rust and not a pretty sight.
Their last tournament was SIVO, and they did win that. I guess if that's anything
Last
to
tournament
go
was
by.
DreamHack Winter.
They did play DreamHack Winter. You're
yeah.
right. So SIVO they won, and then they were at DreamHack Winter.
They played well at DreamHack Winter as well.
Yeah. Then they just faced Fnatic, and
got wrecked.
Fnatic played really well, and they lost. But I think that for VP, I'd like to point out Pasha, because he's the player who initially, when VP broke through as a team, when they won Katowice in 2014, Pasha was at that, you know, first half maybe of 2014, he was one of the best players in the world. And he's been really, you know, lacking throughout 2015 for Virtus.Pro, but as we saw in the graphic just before in the team lineup, he was their highest rated player in the previous 3 months, so even better rated than Snacks.
Off the AWP as well now.
Yeah, so I mean, switch that with Neo and maybe giving him some more freedom in his play style. Then he's not maybe as you know, forced to play with it.
All right. Well, once we get, I'm just going to jump ahead because we've got to kind of stay on it. This one's moving quickly. We're getting close to game time. Let's introduce Mousesports. You played with Nico, as you already mentioned. This kind of hinders him going to the in-game leader, but walk us through this lineup.
All right. So on the far right we have Nex. He is a player who initially was only amazing online. You know, people wondering if he can, you know, transform that performance to LAN as well. Then he had, you know, he has a couple of tournaments here and there where he performs really well on LAN, but I have a feeling that, you know, even throughout the whole tournament, he didn't ever keep a high level of performance. It's usually a best of 3 or a map here and there, so he really needs to work on his consistency because he is an amazingly skilled player. Next to him on the left is Chris J, the Dutch player, the main opper of the team. Very aggressive, very versatile with the op, likes to move around a lot, and when he's on point, and he's been improving throughout 2015, he can be really the X factor for this team. In the middle, Nico, my boy, now the in-game leader of the team as well. Again, a very versatile player, extremely skilled, mechanically also a beast with the deagle, as we saw with a number of highlight clips throughout 2015. He has a good understanding of the game as well, but it's a whole different thing when you have a player giving you info to an in-game leader, you know, and having, you know, to have the same player think for the whole team. You know, it's a whole different ball game, and we'll have to see if he's, you know, able to cope with that. Then it was GOB, but now it's Speedy again in the team. As a second stint, maybe even a third, I don't even know. They switched things around. So much more of a support player in this team. He can also, you know, blow out and play really well. And last was Dennis. I mean, what I say for Nex, I can say for basically any of these players. They're really similar in the way they played. I talked to Nico. They also have a bit of a, you know, difficult time figuring out the roles, because, you know, more or less everyone plays the same play styles. They're not a real lurker in that team or a real dedicated support player, so they're working on that as well. But the thing is, as I mentioned, it's a similar story to FaZe, I believe. Like, in order for Mouse to do well in this tournament, all of their players need to step up and need to be on point, and they need to have a good start, because if things start going wrong for them, I don't think that they have the capacity right now to, you know, claw their way back
and adapt properly. Yeah, because if everybody plays well, that takes so much pressure off of the guy doing the in-game leading, because you don't really have to be complex about what you do or do anything advanced. If you could simply go by, well, let's roll out with the default. If you find picks here, let's bait out more utilities, and then we finally execute towards whatever side we think they have the fewer players on. You can play it that simple. And if players are hitting the shots, then that's going to be really easy for you to do. But it's like Nico says, if they get bogged down, then I don't see Nico being able to magically make Mousesports a supreme tactical team.
Player to watch from either side, if we had to pick one.
I think we have the same choice for Mousesports.
Yeah, Nico. I can't say anything else. Come on, like, you know, give
me
a break
for.
I mean, because he is that kind of a player. He is a player who can open up the whole bomb site for your team by himself. He's the one who can, you know, even when you're on a weak bye, when you're, you know, down, he's the one who can make that amazing play. Which when you're doing a comeback, we always talk about round by round. You need to play it like that. But you always need some, either a 1v3 or a 2v4 or a quad kill or an ace from one of your teammates to get that, you know, to get pumped up, to get some momentum going as well. And Nico is definitely a player who can provide that.
Yeah, I also think the fact that the addition of him being the EU leader for this tournament is obviously big. Normally he'd just be because he's an amazing player and he can basically win the game on his own, but that just adds more impact on or more pressure on him. So that's going to be interesting. On Virtus.Pro side, I think it's Snacks probably. Even though Pasha was the top-rated player the last 3 months, they haven't really played that much the last 3 months.
Yep.
So that obviously comes into...
their last official game was 7th of December, so they basically, it was a month and a half since they played anything. Yeah. And that's why I'm really excited to see them play. I don't think, of course, you had holidays and everything, but I don't think they spent, you know, the whole period just not touching CS. I'm really looking forward to seeing if they came up with some new strats and so on.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing with Virtus.Pro, right? They're this kind of two-faced team. They either show up at events or they don't, but even within that, they've got tactics which they can run, and then when the plow gets rolling, they just stomp everyone. Yeah. They are kind of the most well-rounded team, which, with all this break in between, it's kind of what Virtus.Pro will we see at this event.
Yeah, and also, like, considering that, I think they're going to show up, definitely. I think that they're going to be one of the main contenders, of course, for the title, but I also feel that they have an even bigger advantage in this particular matchup because Mousesports right now, looking at their map pool, they don't really have a map on which you can say, okay, this is a map where we can, you know, play the tier 1 teams, we can challenge them on it. They have a couple of decent maps here and there, and I think that VP is just going to take advantage of that, especially seeing how they don't really play that much of Dust 2 or Inferno, which are like the most classic maps, one of the easier maps to play as T, as well as we just saw from the FaZe and Luminosity matchup. So
in this current system, though, where we're banning 6 maps, does that kind of help Mousesports where they don't have the same map pool that VP does? Obviously, VP can ban against them, but they can do it in turn to Virtus.Pro.
Yeah. I mean, it always depends, you know, if the teams play the same maps, then it doesn't matter as much. But in this particular scenario, I feel that, you know, both teams have a couple of maps they don't play, which they're going to remove. And then it's going to come down probably between something like Mirage, Cash, or Train. It depends who has the first veto and, you know, who gets to decide between the two. I feel that for VP, it would probably be the smartest choice, if they have that choice, to go for Train. Because even though it's not their best map, it's certainly, you know,
a really good map for
it. And it's probably...
It's just a Polish thing.
Yeah, and it's probably a really bad map for Mousesports because you have to, you know, play it as a team a lot, and it's really difficult to get rounds on the T side. So it's if Mousesports banned that it's going to be between Cash and Mirage, and, you know, both maps are really good for VP as well. I feel that they're going to pick Mirage, which is the best map for Mouse as well in that case, because I know Nico is most comfortable playing Mirage and calling it. So we might end up with an interesting game, but I'm not seeing anything than a stomp for VP.
Do you agree? You think we're going in a similar fashion with this veto? We haven't got it yet, so we're still waiting for the teams to do it, by the way.
Yeah, no, that would definitely make sense for me as well. I think in the case of Mousesports, they just want to get off the custom maps as quickly as possible and just get into some of the more, I guess, normal maps, if you could put it that way. For VP, I think they're perfectly fine playing pretty much whatever comes up. And they, you know, as you said, with banning out so many maps, you know, they're going to have the opportunity to steer it into a comfortable situation for them.
Question as well, and we talked about this last week, obviously in front of a much larger audience for Na'Vi. Fortunately, they didn't really show up in the finals. Mousesports, this is effectively their home event. Now, this arena, this convention center, what you want to call it, is fairly large. There's a lot of people here, and in front of the stage, there's actually quite a few already packed in to watch. Is there any effect? Now, they're not playing in the booths today until the best of 3, but is there any effect of just being in front of your home crowd?
Well, it could definitely help, and, well, not being in the booth, they can probably hear the cheers if they do well. I guess they might also hear the groans and moans if they don't do well, so that's the backside of it. But sure, you know, it's nice to play in front of a home crowd, knowing you have the support, so whenever you do something remotely good, you're going to get that positive impact and reinforcement.
I've got something for you. It's a treat. I want you guys to walk us through it. There we go. We've got the veto started.
Yeah, so we see, like, the VP actually banning Overpass. which is a bit of a surprise for me.
I think that would have been a fine map for VP to play versus Mousesports.
Yeah, definitely. Even though Mouse has been playing it lately, but it was one of the better maps for VP historically as well. I presume, yeah, we see Mousesports banning Train immediately. I don't know what they're going to do with their third ban. I guess that Mousesports is going to ban Cobalt. Next ban for VP will probably Dust 2.
Yeah, I would
Inferno.
expect Dust 2, but then again, we could see Virtus.Pro.
Okay, that was one of the ones you thought might slip through.
But you know what? I'm really hoping we're not going to see Virtus.Pro do something like they did in Dubai, where they left Dust 2 open versus TSM and just got crushed on it. So I'm expecting Dust 2 to be gone any second now.
Yeah, well, I would expect it as well for VP to ban Dust 2 now, Mousesports to ban Cobalt.
If this goes to Cobble, Virtus.Pro could be in a really good spot. I can't imagine them taking out Mirage or Cobble at this point. I think it has to be Dust 2.
It has to be Dust 2. Like, nothing else would make sense.
There's always a Alright.
Are they just baiting us at this point?
No, that's what I want to say. There's always a possibility that VP has been working really hard on their Dust 2 in this
That's what
period.
They said before they played TSM
I know, but
as well.
You know, no one knows. People have no idea what to expect from them on Dust 2.
So this is the interesting thing with VP going first. Mousesports now gets to pick between those two, if it's Dust or Mirage.
And they actually played Dust 2 in Pro League, although it was online, and Mousesports only lost 16-13, so it was a really close game. And yeah,
there we go.
Right.
Actually, that's VP put Mousesports in a situation where, because you mentioned that Mirage is a map where Nico feels comfortable both just playing and doing the in-game leading on. So they put Mousesports in a situation where, well, do you want to go to your most comfortable map, which is Mirage, but that's also VP's best map. Right. So do you kind of want to shoot yourself in the foot or not? That's kind of the option they gave the guys there. But it's going to be Dust 2, and I'm surprised by the pick, and I'm surprised by the bans as well from VP. But yeah, I mean, obviously they know something we don't. There's something has been going on in this. They've been back in the lab.
Yeah, in this transition period for them, and it may turn out that they come out guns blazing on Dust 2, get an easy win, and maybe it's a joker pick for them in a way.
What was really cool, like way back earlier on in CS:GO, they did actually play some Dust 2, and what was really cool about their CT sides was that they played really aggressively on their CT sides as opposed to pretty much every other CT side team ever. Maybe that's something they're going to try to throw in there. We saw a lot of pushes, basically trying to get lower dark and upper dark control, basically so they can force the T side in towards that A bomb side and basically gain as much map control on the CT side as possible. So,
and that's what you want to do against Mousesports as well as CT. You want to disrupt them. You don't want to allow them to do their default or whatever they're comfortable with, because as we mentioned, they're going to have a hard time adapting to that particular play style. So, they have players like, as we mentioned, Nico, Chris J. Next, if those players are off to a good start on an open map like Dust 2, VP could have some problems there.
Dennis is someone who's very aggressive on this map as well. Chris J, let's talk about him, because he says one of his favorite spots to play in the entire game is on A ramp at Dust 2. Is he now a guy that has to come alive in this?
I think it's necessary, and I think it's going to be really big on also to alleviate pressure from Nico on the T side, not just the CT side playing that A ramp. He's going to have to come up big with finding openings and just creating space for the Mousesports players, because that makes Nico's job much easier. It makes him able to do what he usually does, which is also create space for the rest of the guys. So Chris J is definitely going to be play a massive part in a potential Mousesports upset.
I feel that the name of the game for Mousesports is just focus on individually, focus on your crosshair, keep things simple, play together as a unit. Don't try to do anything too fancy. Go for some crazy executes. Just try to get to those aim duels, and then hope that you are going to win them, and use your numbers to overwhelm a bomb site and then win the after plant situations. But I feel it's similar to the Luminosity phase game. A lot of things have to go right for Mousesports, and a couple of things to go wrong for VP, for Mouse to actually have a chance in this game.
Interesting. This is bothering me, by the way, so I'm just going to go ahead and fix it. It's okay, don't worry about it. So is that a possibility, though? Do we actually see that an upset could happen? We say again because no one really ruled phase into that map one.
Well, I've seen VP mess things up on Dust 2 before, so the opportunity is there, but it's like it's the unknown quantity of what have VP been doing during this off season. Nobody really knows except them and probably the few teams they've practiced against on Dust 2.
Yeah, the thing is, it's possible, but it's not really plausible. The chances of that happening are really low, as we've just seen in the previous matchup, as you pointed out. Of course, it can happen. but I really don't see it happening.
You also mentioned something that was interesting, the post-plant situations. We have not seen these two teams on the new bomb timer specifically. Does that potentially favor VP, who likes to be a little more calculated in that approach, as opposed to Mousesports, who can be very aggressive?
Yeah, probably, but the thing is, we still don't know what VP has in store for this new patch. You know, are they gonna just play it slow like everyone else, go out of defaults, then go for a late execute, or are they gonna do exactly the opposite, try and mix things up, maybe go for a more aggressive playstyle to try and catch, you know, the CTs off guard, because the CTs now are kind of forced to save those smokes, save those incendiaries, save their resources for as long as they can in order to have a chance to combat the Ts later on in the round. So
I don't know if we could see it there, if Taz would just turn a little more. He's got the I don't know what to call it, to be honest. The meanest goatee I've ever seen, by the way. New Taz.
Evil donut.
Edward shaved the beard.
The devil.
Taz goes for the goatee.
New VP, bro. That's what
2016.
it's all about.
Yeah. Who else
New year,
changed?
new
Anyone else change anything?
Trying to think here.
Anyone got a crazy haircut? That, like, AZ needs a haircut next. That's what has to happen.
Couldn't we get him like a... he needs to grow a beard, but I don't think he can.
I don't think he can. I can't grow a beard,
It's going to take too long.
Yeah, we'll see you next year. AZ, start now, 2017,
like
new beard AZ.
Well, imagine if you could put like Nick, our producer, if you could put his beard
on AZ,
and then just like twirl up the hair so he looks like Ragnar Lothbrok.
That would be too much manliness in one person, I think. That's where Ragnar Lothbrok is like a character in a TV show.
Talk a little bit about coaching on this team as well, because we just actually saw it. Kuban obviously used to play with them a lot.
Yeah.
The Golden 5 era, and now behind VP, and then Mousesports.
I think the dream for these teams like Mouse, FaZe is that VP somehow falls apart.
And
then you have three people who can coach. You have Taz, Neo, and Cuban. So for all these teams to just pick them up. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I feel that when you have a coach who can, you know, dedicate himself to maybe figuring out new strats, anti-stratting your opponents, and so on, that it's a big addition to a team. And you know, at times we know that at times VP had problems with, you know, people disagreeing in a team, similar to like Zeus and Starix. You had that between Taz and Cuban as well. So I think lately things have calmed down in their tent, so to speak. So yeah, I agree that it's a big plus for VP to have Cuban behind them, especially that he knows all those players so well. They played together for a long time in 1.6 as well.
The interesting thing with Cuban is even though he's behind them, they still switch in-game leaders very commonly. You know, Taz has an off week, and I think Taz is strategic about it. Like, okay, we're not winning. You guys are kind of mad at me. Why don't you do it for a bit? Oh, you failed? Okay, I'll take it back over. And then it's like renewed faith in him. But it's interesting how they're another team that can swap quite a bit.
And obviously this is just, I guess, the eye test, but looking at VP, I think they play better as a team when Taz is in control. So as a general thing, on average, I think they do better when Taz is actually doing the game leading.
I mean, they had that bad period at the beginning of last year. You know, they had something like 6 or 7 events in a row, and they weren't performing that well. And then they decided just to let Taz lead for a tournament. It was the ESCA tournament, and they actually won that. And that was when they, you know, got things rolling again for them.
Yep.
So change is sometimes good, as you mentioned. When things are just not working, you don't have time to, you know, just sit down, practice, take some time, maybe just, you know, do something like that to get some fresh energy going or whatever.
But I think they're also in a pretty unique situation because they seem to be pretty open about the fact that everyone can get a shot at doing it, and nobody's really you're not gonna get hung if you
even snags.
If you mess up, then okay, it didn't work out, but at least we've got some new takes on things. We've gotten a new perspective on how to do things in game, and they seem pretty open about experimenting with what they're doing. Whereas other teams, they might not have the same options. If they swap an in-game leader, they might be like, okay, that didn't work, we'll just go back to the other guy, and if that still doesn't work, then we're just going to make a roster change. VP are more like, well, it didn't work this time, but, you know, in 2 months, now it's your turn, so you go ahead. And that's pretty cool. It's pretty unique for them, and I think they've benefited from it in the long run. Just that they've had the same core this entire time. They've pretty much had everyone's input at some point as to how they want to structure the game and how they want to play it. So that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. And they are the most stable roster of anyone in CS right now, by a long shot. Navi was in contention for that title, and then they swapped out Starks for Flamey, obviously. Yeah. So, I mean, that does start to help, right? The subtle nuances, less communication required in some cases, because you just know by all the times that I've played
just intuitive
that he's going to mess up, and then you're going to have to carry for him.
Thank you.
So you're welcome.
It's, you know, also when those players are so used to their roles within the team, you know, on their T sides, in their defaults, you know which positions you hold, you know your timings. It's not that, you know, people underestimate that when you make rotations on the CT side. Of course, in these top teams, all of the players are really skilled. They will, you know, it's not a problem of them knowing which angles to hold, which counter flashes to throw. The problem is timings. You know, the timings are off. When to throw that counter flash, when to, you know, call for a flash to check, you know, check that side of the map or whatever. That's the things that, you know, people get used to. That's why you get, that's, you know, people who are used to playing their role, who play it a lot at their spot, they can give more valuable info to their in-game leader or to their team as a whole, and they can maybe even know better when they can push and get some, you know, further map information for their team. And when you switch someone out and someone has to get used to all of that, of course there's a, you know, transition period when he needs to learn, okay, is this a good time for me to push? Is this, you know, because if you're not, let's say, Mirage B holes, for an example, as a CT, if you're always playing passively and the Ts don't have anyone in B apps, then you're missing an opportunity to get info for your team, to get a quick flank, to, you know, win around here and there. So there's a lot of depth when it comes to it.
Time to put our money where our mouth is, because the knife's going live in about 30 seconds. What do you got, Vendetta?
I've got VP winning, even though it's Dust 2. I'm going to give Mousesports a bit of a better run at it, so 16-10.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think VP is a better team on overall and on whichever map they play. I'm going to go with 16-7 for VP.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for your thoughts. To get into the game, it is, of course, going to be our other duo here this weekend, Henry G and Seda. Just kidding. It's Menace. Enjoy it, guys.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Metis, here we are, up against Virtus.Pro and Mousesports. How are you doing today?
Doing great. I'm so hyped for this entire tournament. I think this game, especially being the first game of the entire event for both these teams, could very well go the way of Mousesports. I know that's quite a big thing, you know,
it's a bold
big prediction
statement
to make, but we saw what happened between FaZe and Luminosity. A lot of people wouldn't have given FaZe a chance in hell, so
well, that's the thing. With this best-of-1 format, especially being the first game of the day as well, I think you're right. I think there definitely is there's some sort of contention there. They have a chance of taking Virtus.Pro down. The problem is the last guys he's met up on LAN, especially, I casted that final as Sevo. They got absolutely wrecked on every single map. It wasn't the case, it was a best-of-5, but every map was just a mess for Mousesports. Obviously, a little bit of a different lineup this time. We've got Speedy, he's back, and hoping, well, the thing is as well, God B is missing. Like, he was always like instrumental in all of Mousesports' victories. Everyone said he's a tactical mastermind, and now missing him. Nico's taking the reins of the in-game leading. I'm not sure what to think of that, to be honest. It feels like when you've got Nico, your star player, you probably want him just concentrating on fragging purely. You don't want him to have that pressure of trying to call as well. So for me, that's going to be a very interesting dynamic to the team.
Yeah, I completely agree, and it's something that comes up quite often. This whole in-game leading, does it affect people's performances? Do they drop off on the frags? We're going to find out today. What I will say, though, is if you go back sort of 6 months ago, Dust 2 was a playground for Mousesports. They're actually really strong on this map. So I feel this could be a bit of a rocky performance for VP, but let's get into the action there.
Well, here we go then. Mousesports are going to be boosting up the shore. Pretty standard procedure so far, just trying to find any sort of information they can. Not necessarily a kill, they just want to see whether they can spot terrorists towards the top of middle and potentially lower B as well. You can see a player as Chris J being boosted on those short boxes as well. Virtus.Pro have got that long control as well, so actually committing all 5 players towards this point of the map. Speedy will spot them just behind the barrels there, just trying to see if he can ding some of the heads off there, but very passive setup so far. VP now with full control along. It's going to be interesting to see how they execute.
Yeah, Speedy, though, has definitely heard and seen a few of those players. Nico opens things off. Beautiful headshot from him. Neo's trying to do what he can, but he gets picked off as well. It's now down to Speedy. He's doing quite a bit of damage. Taz is going to be the last to fall down with Bialy, and a great hold from Mousesports. Speedy doing the damage.
Interesting approach there from Virtus.Pro, it has to be said. The fact that they get full control along, at that point you normally go into an A split at that stage. You want to like pincer the CT so they're stuck on the bomb side. Like when all 5 players are committed towards long like that, it's quite easy for the USPs to pick you off. We saw Nico pick up that first headshot, and VP didn't really execute into the round at all. They just ran up long and kind of hoped they could steamroll the bomb side, but it didn't really turn out like that. Mousesports pick up the first round, but VP will be forcing into this one, and once again they will be going for that long control. The bomb is showing attention towards that part of the map as well. We do have 2 players going towards short as well, so potentially more of an A split coming up this time. You can see Pasha there has made his way into the pit, but he actually gets tagged as well by Chris J. Chris J, one of the most deadly scout users in the world, I would say.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons why I say going back, Mousesports used to wreck on this map, because Chris J was just as happy to use that scout as indeed it was with the AWP. So I'd expect to see frags coming down here from him. As you say, though, Pasha down to 19, so he has to be super careful. Still in pit right now, trying to land a headshot if he can. And meanwhile, the rest of his team are trying to filter their way through long and short.
The problem is right now, you can see VP don't actually have any utility whatsoever. They need Pasha to actually land one of these shots. They can just basically surprise with their PT-50s running at the bomb site. That's what they're trying now, but look how comfortable the CTs are. There's no way they're going to lose this round. You haven't got any smokes to go over crossover. The bomb's been dropped. This force buy has been pretty lackluster. I prefer on the force buys, like, you at least take one smoke, you go out towards middle, and you try and overwhelm with the one or two CD players that may be there. You have a real chance of getting those kills. When you're going towards long with literally no flashbangs, no smokes, hoping the scout does something, I think your chances are very slim to none at that point. So now we just have Taz remaining. He's on a 5-on-1. And what does he have? 2 HP. And the PT-50, I don't think he is long for this world, and that's it. Dennis does decide his fate and picks up the second round for Mousesports there. So far, so good. Your prediction is looking pretty accurate so far. Looks like there's a decent start coming in from Mousesports. If they can continue this momentum on the CT side and just break down the economy of the Ts, maybe they have a real shout here.
Yeah, the stars very well may align here for Mousesports, and I completely agree with you. The lack of utility was an absolute Achilles heel, but what I would also say is you've got to give credit to Chris J. Reading that situation, pulls back into the advantageous position, uses the long range of the scout. So here we go, VP with absolutely nothing other than just the one flashbang in this round. Not even upgraded pistols.
Well, this is the thing, so you can see Mousesports have read the situation pretty nicely, keeping the SMGs and the scout, just trying to farm as much cash as they can in this round. No, they'll be up against a full eco here, not even an upgraded pistol. Full Glocks coming in, as VP are starting to show some presence towards middle here. Nothing, I'm not really sure what the plan is. I assume they're going to flash out towards mid and hope they can make something of this, but the problem is Nico is waiting towards him in CT spawn.
Man, Cajun B loving this map so much, he actually joined and left. Well, I seen this by accident, but here we go. The action is about to come in. Chris J has called this one. If he just holds fire, he will be in the frags, you have to feel. As the scout is going to do damage, misses that first shot, does connect in the second time. Of Askin's going to line them up, knocks another one down. Looking for the third, it's not getting it on the first time. But the rest of his team now is maneuvering themselves into position. The bomb has been planted, though, so all things considered, VP probably completed what they set out for, and they get 2 frags as well with just 1 flashbang. Yeah, that pretty much was the best outcome for that round. Obviously, they had nothing to work with whatsoever. Just getting a bomb planted, you see it going down towards short. That gives each player next round an extra $800, and it kind of lessens the blow on that force buy from the second round, which amounted to pretty much nothing. Chris J with a nice display of scout headshots there. This is the big one. This is the first gun round. You can see no AWPs have been purchased for Virtus.Pro. Chris J, we kind of mentioned before him being that deadly scout user. He's more than happy to take these into the gun rounds. I prefer Mousesports to go aggressive into this round, like show something towards maybe boosting up short once again, maybe pushing into B tunnels, just to kind of try and find that first frag and give them a little bit of a benefit just because they have that scout going into this one. Absolutely, and you can see that VP are definitely respecting. And as you said, here comes the aggressive push. Very nearly catch. I think that was Neil, who was just trying to throw and flashbang, but he has just been tagged down a tiny bit, will be backing away. So CT's taking pretty aggressive positions in long as well, just be pushing on down there towards the doors, getting information as they push.
Well, that's the whole idea from the CTs. Gain map control, push the Ts back, get them second guessing as to what that setup is in the B tunnels. The interesting thing is, though, Mousesports have actually decided to leave them fully open. So after that initial push, they probably were trying to find that first frag, but getting information like that, it's delayed the Ts and made them question themselves a little bit as we still continue. No frags to be gathered so far. It's just Dennis who's taking the brunt of the damage. He's down to 27 HP. Now VP now going to be setting up. Chris J is towards middle with the scouts. Smoke's not going to take away too much vision from him, especially when he can jump as well. So VP just buying the time right now.
I suppose good news for VP is they still have plenty of utility to play with, as Chris J does catch a glimpse, but will not convert that into a frag at this time of asking. However, the call will come in that at least 2 players have pushed on to short. That does keep Nico interested at the back of the site. Now he's not going to be moving anywhere. But VP are taking every second at their disposal here, and they haven't really got through on anywhere. They haven't really got any real estate so far, Henry.
Well, they've got the bomb towards B tunnel, so I assume this is a B split coming in. Next is in a great position, though. That shot, he exchanges it in the end. Comes down to a 4-on-4. Dennis is going big as well. It's equal 3-on-3 as they enter the B bomb site. The site's actually be completely open from the CTs now. Chris J was pushing straight through. He's only got the scout on the 5-7 to work with. Probably want to be upgrading to an AK-47. And this kill is going to mean everything if Pasha can find Chris J through the smoke here.
Bomb has been planted. And Pasha's just biding his time, waiting like a coil. Viper, 2 frags for him. And a third as well. Beautiful spray control from the VP veteran. And Mousesports will concede their first round.
Very nice stuff. They're just great positional awareness there from Pasha. He knew once the CTs had lost that control towards the B bomb site, they had no real choice but to quickly push through the smoke and see what they could do. They didn't have a chance to check Pasha. And like he said, waiting there like a coiled viper to take down 3 players. And that's the first round in favor of VP. The thing is, though, Mousesports farmed so much cash in those initial anti-ecos. They're absolutely fine here. And Chris J does get the AWP this round as well. They're going to be going aggressive once more. They pushed B tunnels last time. Now Nico going straight towards the top of middle. He's alone as well. This could be huge. Does get spotted, and now he's in a real predicament.
He is. He almost has to stand and fight, because if he backs on off there, he can get picked off from numerous angles. He gets picked off anyway. And Snax is larger in charge. And that really does put Mousesports in a terrible position, especially as Pasha has secured the second frag for them. Frag still coming down, though, in mid. As Taz will get the better of Mousesports once more. Dennis is in a good position to strike. He's going to get at least one, bring this back into a 2 versus 3. However, that bomb is starting to transition up mid, and there's still options and plenty of time to play with.
Yeah, Dennis trying to react. Obviously, after you lose those first initial frags, you need to do something. You need to react and take some sort of real estate. He gets a pick. It doesn't equal things up. It definitely gives him a real chance of winning this round, as we still have Chris J towards the A bomb site, towards that car area, just waiting for terrorists to cross here. The problem for him is they still have flashbangs and a arsenal of utility to work with, and he's getting pincered from long as well.
That's a big frag in this 2-on-3. That pretty much seals it up nicely for VP. It was a 1-1 stack. And that player on A has been picked off. Bomb will be planted. And VP may very well just go and try and hunt down Dennis.
At this stage, he hasn't got a kit, and it's a 3-on-1. The bomb has been planted. The best he can do is maybe try and salvage an AWP, but that's pretty much all he can do at this stage. Staying alive is going to be paramount for him. So Mousesports, once again, they go for that aggression. The first gun round, they push into upper B. This time, they send Nico towards the top of mid. I'd have preferred if he had some help from the teammates, maybe a flash towards the top of middle before he faced. He seemed to just go up blind, and honestly, he needed to find that first frag. If you lose, as soon as you get spotted and you don't get anything from it, you're definitely on the retreat there, and you don't know whether this player's coming from lower B. It's just, you're instantly dead. You might as well commit and try and see if you can take one down with you. It didn't happen for him, and that was the beginning of the rots for Mousesports there. As VP just had to play very cool then. He just waited for the reaction to come in, got the frags in exchange, and that's 2 rounds in a row. Dennis does save the M4A1, so they have the question now. I'm sure they can get some upgraded pistols here. I'm not sure whether money will lie exactly. Let's have a look as we go into this one there. So they can just get to use the M4 the best they can. They're not going to smoke towards middle as well, so the AWP should be able to spot as to how many players have crossed here. Chris J's actually managed to get towards the top of middle here. Could do something with this. He's only got a silenced USP, but he has got the surprise factor working in his favor.
The question is, do VP expect another push up mid? Bjarli gets caught and actually will be fragged from the Soul M4. And Dennis still has that full HP. And he's going in for seconds. Neo is there and will just about take him down. Still, though, it's a 2-on-3, and this is doable for Mousesports. They still have that M4 in play. As I say that, Dennis picks himself up another one, and keeping this round very interesting indeed. The bomb is going to be and will be planted. And the fact that Speedy only has I was about to say only USP, but he just picked up an AK as I started that sentence. So, 2 weapons in play here. Mousesports may very well want to go for this one.
I think so. I think this is a justified retake. They can find the first kill very quickly. You can see Neo is on very low HP as well, but no kits. I think they're making the more safer play here, making sure they have decent money to go to the next round. If they can drop these guns next, especially Dennis picking up 3 kills, he probably has some decent cash going to the next round. Yeah, he's got 3K in the bank there, so they're going to be doing okay. It's actually a very reasonable round, considering they had 1 M4 and 4 USPs. That's actually not bad at all, getting 3 kills and saving 2 weapons as well. That's actually probably the best outcome they could have hoped for there. Dennis definitely stepping up there. It's going to bring the scoreline to 3-3. Snax has survived with the AWP, so you can see Dennis could drop the AWP if Chris J did fancy it. I'd like them to go to a more of a classic setup now. We've been seeing a lot of aggression coming in from Mousesports. They haven't really tested the water with their defensive setups just yet. Obviously, I think it was justified in the first gun round, but that second one was a little bit too high risk for my liking. Chris J will get the AWP once more. It's going to be Dennis who drops that over, but VP getting that decent long spawn. Very viable on Dust 2, just to go out and face and see what we can do with it. Actually, that Molotov's going to leave Bjarli in a very difficult situation, as he's not able to get back up from his teammates right now. And there it is. Speedy does take him down and bring it to the 5-4.
Yeah, Molly was huge, completely isolating Bjarli from the rest of the pack there. And now, as you said, they had good spawns to push long. Well, as soon as that Molly lands, it's pretty much lights out.
Absolutely. And you can see them just smoking it off now, capitalizing it. VP are reacting pretty nicely, trying to push up short as quickly as they can, but Next and Chris J doing absolute work here. They find a frag apiece, and this is going to be Snax and Neo now. They have got the AWP to work with, but not really many options at this point, because Nico is coming in for the backstab as well.
This is a much-needed round for Mousesports, just to calm and steady the ship a little bit after the last couple of rounds here. But as you say, Snacks with the AWP and Neo with the AK could definitely pull something off. They are on the site already with that bomb. Need to be careful. They don't want to get too antsy and go for that fast plant in case someone's hiding in the shadows. Nex is in CT spawn right now. Is waiting for backup to arrive, and the bomb has now been planted. So VP, all the pressure now shifts in the sense they don't have to worry about getting that bomb down. It's all in the CT to try and retake this. They do have 3 smokes and a HE to play with, and Neo is in prime position to strike. There's the first spray control. Is he going to go in for the second one? He actually did spin towards the stairs. I thought for a second he could have had that one. He got players jumping up. Neo's going to pick up a second frag. Surely this isn't possible. He runs out of bullets. He will be dropping down to his death. And here comes Snacks, and Speedy delivers the fatal blow and lays him to rest. That will be a defuse, but VP in a 4 versus 2, way too close for comfort as far as
This is 2 when it started. It was that was kind of crazy how Mousesports, I was going to say before they started that retake, the key thing for them is just keeping the numbers modest. They wanted to make sure they only dropped maybe 1-2 people there, but got a lot more interesting than that. When Snacks was alone on that 1-on-3 with the AWP on cart, he really had a shot there of taking that one down. Mousesports do recover though, and they're going for the double AWP setup now. In my opinion, the strongest setup you can really bring to the party here. Allows you to have 2 turrets on either side of the map and then a little rifle unit working together, trying to do retakes and stuff. But Snacks did managed to get an AWP as well as we enter round number 8 here. You can see they're doing a much more passive approach here. VP waiting to see if that aggression is going to be coming in from the CTs once more, but with these double AWP setups, you probably want to have a much more defensive game going forward.
The really interesting thing as well, on the desk, they're talking about the fact that, Pasha was dropping off the AWP a little bit more for Neo. Here we go with Snacks. He could have dropped that to one of those.
It's interesting, though. And Inferno, normally for VP, Snacks is more than happy to pick up the AWP. Dust 2 is not a map we actually see VP played that often. That was normally their go-to ban. A lot of people have been saying this is like one of the ones they've been actually working on behind the scenes. We haven't seen them in an event in quite a while, so maybe they feel a lot stronger on this one. But so far, Mousesports definitely making a fight of it. The scoreline is 4-3 in their favor. Well, I think the analysts predicted this is almost a run over for VP. It should be at least on paper, but it seems like Mousesports definitely have got a few tricks up their sleeve.
I think Mousesports are an underrated team when it comes to Dust 2. But are they going to be able to finish this one off? Of course, it's still early days. VP can easily bounce back from this situation. If they just win a couple rounds, of course, the CT curse sets in, but Chris J is on point with one of the aforementioned turrets.
Yes, well, pretty simple frag for him there. It's going to be bringing it down to the 5-on-4. You can see the T's retreating from that area. They don't want to go face Chris J in the back of B of an AWP, so they're going to make their way towards the A-bomb site. You can see they haven't got any flashbangs, or at least they've got 1 on Taz. That's about it, as they make their way up towards short, and emphatically, and the frags start to come in there.
Huge kills but from Nex, but Neo is back. The Molotov's going to stop the plant over then on short, which is going to be planted right now. Again, it's a 3-on-2 retake in favor to the CTs. Nice shot from Nico. Puts all of the pressure on Taz's shoulders. And they are going to line up for him on the elevator, but he's not going to get it done. And Mousesports will pick up yet another.
Very slow-paced round there from VP. Just trying to work the picks there. You saw Snacks go towards upper B. They were just hoping he would find something out of that, but Chris J, like I said before, very simple frag for him. Brought it down to the 5-on-4, and it just seems like VP just going to, well, we've got the man disadvantage now. Should we just run up short together? They didn't have enough utility to play with to execute properly. They may be smoking off CT spawn, dropping someone down and trying to counter one of the AWPs there. They just kind of ran up one by one and got punished for it as well. So after that round, they will be forced by into this one. You can see they've got Tech 9s, CZs, P250s, and a little bit of utility as well. They're going to be going for that long spawn once again. Neo is out. He's going to force the CT player back, but Chris J taking down Pasha once again brings it down to the 5-on-4 in favor of the German side.
Yep, solid shots right off the get-go from Chris J. Needs to be a bit careful. If he pushes up too far on long, he does definitely find himself in a bit of a danger zone. Molotov onto the site. He's going to try and draw out some of those CTs. Snacks going to line up the nade as well. And the smoke has connected onto the CT side, and Taz somehow gets the frag, but here come the AWPs, both ringing in onto short. The damage is still being inflicted, though, from VP, as Neo has picked up the AWP now. And if he can land this shot, this is definitely on for him. There's still time. He's not pressured to push to the site just yet. He's still peering into the CT spawn. He feels that something's up. Great double peek from Mousesports, making sure that if he does land the AWP shot, the Avenge frag comes in 6-3 now.
Exactly. That's all they wanted to do. They didn't want to actually allow him to get into the position where he could plant the bomb and they have to retake and potentially be at a different 1-on-X situations. They decided to face it exactly the same time, and as you mentioned, he only have 1 shot to go with the AWP. As soon as he kills 1 or misses 1, they can kill him together. Worked perfectly for them, and that's another round on the board for Mousesports. Going to round number 10, there's actually difficult buy here. Snacks, who was the AWP player before, he's just going to have the Tech 9. They have got smokes, but no Molotovs to work with, so you can see them playing very passively once more. Not going to be forcing the issue just yet, waiting for any more aggression coming in from the CTs, but with that double orb setup, I don't think we'll be seeing any more of that while this buy is still in force.
I feel like this is really Mousesports' round to win. It would be more on their mistakes, I feel, than VP stepping up to the plate here if they were to lose this. Nico is going to go for that peek, though, on long. Is he going to get anything for his troubles? Yes, he will. Pasha just shoulders round the corner at the worst possible moment. And the fact that there is no cavalry charging in allows Nico now to pull himself back, looking up onto the catwalk once more. We've seen him in this position a bunch of times. It's just very difficult to deal with when you have a lack of utility, though, from a T's perspective.
And once again, it's the 5-4 disadvantage in favor of Mousesports. They're so good at working that first pick. This time it's Nico picking it up, and VP looking like they're actually going to try and execute a little bit more onto the A-bomb side. They know the AWPs are there. Dropping down the CT spawn is what we want to see. Try and stifle the AWP here. It's all down to Taz. What can he do? Nico actually takes him down, and this should be the round tied up here, as VP still trying to force their way onto the bomb side.
Oh, but here comes Neo. He's large, and he's going to take himself down. 2 kills. Can he get a third? No. But has he inflicted enough damage on the Mousesports squad to clutch this round? There's the frag from Snacks catching Mousesports off guard. But there's Chris J as well. Bjarly all by his lonesome. Has the AK with the armor. The bomb planted for short right now. He's waiting for these players to push his location, and Speedy takes him down, dispatching him with ease. Mousesports move to a 7th round.
So they lose that first man once again, and we see the pick coming in from Nico once more. They actually got to a position where VP were actually, once again, very close to winning it. Those clutch situations, those 2-on-1s, very good players to win those clutches. You've got players like Taz and Neo who are known for their clutch situations. This was actually a great play from Neo to get them into it. So it all came down to that, whether they could actually make something of that round. But unfortunately for them, it's actually going to force them into another difficult buy here. This time it's Taz on the Tech 9. 4 AK-47s and a distinct lack of grenades as well. Chris J showing a little bit more aggression this time. He's going to be facing towards lower B. And it looks like that's where exactly where the teams will be going, as Dennis and Nex open up the floodgates of the frags.
They do indeed. Here comes the pop, but no one's going to be pushing from the T. It's important to mention at the start of this round as well, Henry, that economy has been dwindling for Mousesports. 4 of their players were very low. I think even sub $1,000. So
because these rounds have all come down to like one on twos, they haven't had any real solid rounds, but they have won 4 in a row. And this is a big one for them. This should stabilize the economy quite nicely. They haven't lost a single man so far. I think the headline here is just don't lose any frags, but Bjarly does punish Chris J and loses the AWP. As we go into the 4-on-2 now, they have got the bomb on Pasha, but not exactly in great positions here. As you can see, smoked off at our upper B. And I wish I could see the round time, but I can't. So I'm going to kind of see where this one goes. We're going to try and guess what time it's on. I'd say it's probably about 50 seconds.
Well, I have no idea. There's probably people in Twitch chat. If you guess that right, tell us the lottery numbers. You're clearly clairvoyant. But Pasha is the last player remaining. As you say, though, maybe, well, I was going to say, maybe if he bags himself another couple of kills, his job's been done. That's not the case. Surviving with 4 players, very healthy for Mousesports.
Well, that's going to pay VP now a maximum loss bonus, meaning $3,400 going into the accounts of each player each time. Still, I don't think they'll have enough. This is the quasi buy coming in. So like I said, they get the maximum loss bonus. You keep their balance of about 2.2k, and that means they actually get a nice full buy going into the next round with the addition of that 3,400. So once again, they'll have the AWPs. But so far, their executions haven't been fantastic. It seems that they've got themselves in an economical rut, and when they're trying to get into situations, they're actually in 5-on-4s every single time they come to the bomb side. So it hasn't been easy for VP so far. As we enter round number 12 now, Nico has been flashed off and manages to get away. As I say that, though, he actually does get punished, and now brings it to the 5-4 in their favor. Comes down to Nex on that bomb side, but this force buy working out very nicely for VP indeed.
And now Snacks will be pushing through the smoke. He assumes that the CT player did already go through. That's not the case. It's going to be Chris J. Lands the USP headshot. 2-1-3 retake. Flashbang, a smoke and a decoy. Not the greatest amount of utility to retake a site with. And the fact that their funds aren't the healthiest makes this a bit of a rough retake. But here we go. Chris J going in first, and he's going to be the first to fall in this confrontation. Speedy, the newest addition to Mousesports, has it all to do. And he decides, screw this, I'm going to save the AWP.
What a round that turned out to be. So So they have the Tech 9s and some smoke grenades. They did have some armor as well. Just went for the simple beast flip there. And that's what, as soon as you find that first frag, you catch a CT with their pants down. You can actually just swarm the bomb site there, and you can just find one player towards that site. Once you get the bomb down on Dust 2 and B, it's a very difficult retake indeed. One of the more difficult sites to retake, especially when you have that double orb setup, for example. That just makes things a lot harder. So Virtus.Pro find a round out of nowhere, and as we mentioned before, their economy was sitting pretty healthy anyway, and they've got that double orb set up now themselves. So Neo and Pasha, Snacks has dropped to this time. Maybe shows a little bit of inconsistency on their T setups, but let's see what they can do with this. It's actually going to be Mousesports who have been knocked off now. They've gone for the Force, but well, the Quasi-Buy, I'd say. They've got the Scouts, the 5-7, some body armor. Just trying to see whether they can work that first pick. And Speedy doing a tremendous amount of damage down to Pasha. Takes it down to 7 HP through the door with the Desert Eagle there.
Maybe something else to take into account as well is when Snacks had the AWP, maybe that was based off his spawn. He may have had a really sick spawn for long. I'm not entirely sure. I'd be very interested to go back and watch that. But as you say, Pasha super low. Dennis, however, has taken damage himself. He's down to 21. And this round is going to start to shape up through Catwalk as far as VP are concerned, as they've been walking into Chris J, who goes for the reload at the worst possible moment. Here comes Nico. We know how capable he is with a deagle. First frag goes down, but he's not going to add to that count. Chris J, in the meantime, though, picks up this. Scout's going to pick himself up that second frag. Goodness me, surely Virtus.Pro aren't going to lose this round. But it's looking ever so slightly as Nick's going to pick himself up a frag as well. What is going on? Pasha is still alive, but he's so low on HP. Any bullet ends his life.
Well, not really much he can do here. Has got the AWP. As long as the CTs don't make a tremendous mistake here, this round is tied up. As you mentioned, he's got 7 HP to work with. What can he actually do here? I'd be just tempted to save at this point. You have to go recover the bomb, kill 3 CTs, and there it is. Chris J will settle the score. And after winning the Force Buy themselves, they actually come back and lose the Force Buy from... It wasn't even a Force Buy, it's more of like a semi-quad, so they had 5-7s and a Scout. Chris J, once again, testament to how good he is with that weapon. Another double headshot round for him.
Man, Pasha looks pissed.
Yeah.
You see that shake of the head there? He's like, guys,
well, look at the
hell?
Look at what a crucial round that was as well. They reset once again, and now they've got Snacks and Bialy on the upgraded pistols. They've got no nades once again, and it's using those spawns and hoping they can find something with this. Speedy, on the other hand, making sure he doesn't drop his frag here. He knows how big this round can be for Mousesports there, and Chris J does rattle off a shot towards long, but he doesn't get a kill, but at least finds out where the positional control from the T's may lie.
Well, this could get a bit sticky for Chris J. And he's going to get traded out. It's a pretty decent trade considering the weaponry right now. It's going to leave an AWP as well. Meanwhile, Pasha pushes through long, bags himself the frag. He gets himself taken down in the return. Now it's all up to Taz. He's bagged himself one. Can he get any more? Finally, bags himself that kill. And now Dennis on short is going to do what he can, but the bomb's been planted. And he is just going to run off here and save the M4 for the final round of this half.
Yeah, so VP keeping it simple and loose once again, just getting that long spawn and forcing the issue towards that area. They find the first pick and they split the bomb site. Tailing your shots, and those simple executions all it's about. Dennis does pick up Taz for his troubles, but looks like he will be saving here. Just looking at the scoreboard there, it looked like Snacks is currently on 3 frags, and maybe that was a reason for him to be chucked off the AWP. Who knows, as Bialy now is the one wielding it. They did have a double AWP set up before. But there we go. It's been a pretty interesting game so far. A lot of unfavorable situations going in favor of VP as we enter the last round now.
We do indeed. So, the A4. What's it going to get done for the CTs? As you've seen there, Taz, 2 key frags that were picked up. And we have got the round time.
We can see the round time now.
Awesome.
So at least we can builds a little bit more tension there. Then Dennis does get hit through the doors by Snacks. He's back on the AWP now. Once again, Bialy just going to be going out towards long behind the blue bin there. He's in a difficult position though. As Speedy does take him down. It's a little bit questionable there. And Chris J showing that aggression towards short. They pick up the first 2 frags, and now the CTs, all they need to do is fall back and just actually play the bomb side, make VP force into a side and try and plant. Let's see how this one goes down. Pasha with an AWP as well. Just trying to work a pick in any way they can. CTs though, 2 rifles, Desert Eagles. And just holding back and seeing what they can make of this. I really don't like this face towards long. This is how you throw the round away a little bit.
Almost a rinse and repeat of the buy that ended up breaking Virtus.Pro's back the last time when we saw Pasha's reaction. So they're playing into the advantages once more. Nico somehow gets the better of Pasha.
He was getting baited in by his teammate there. As you can see, Speedy was just trying to show presence on that corner while Nico was getting very close to those doors. Gonna leave Snacks now. In the 1 versus 5 in the last round. Obviously no reason to save. And Mousesports with a very successful CT campaign there. 10 plays 5. VP looked like they were coming back into it. Managed to get 3 rounds in a row after the initial pistol deficit. But seemed like Mousesports, once they got that double AWP setup rolling, that was it for VP. They didn't really have an answer to it. Reliant on the spawn factor quite a lot, trying to get long control. Worked out a couple of times. And if you remember that the other gun round, I say, they won was actually the pistols straight through middle and they swarmed the bomb site there. So
you're
actually
right,
the gun round.
Snacks 3 frags.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So this pistol round, I'd say, means everything for VP. They haven't really impressed me too much here. Most teams will boost up towards short, sending 2 players up to that area, just trying to push into lower B, maybe throw some nades there, spot towards middle and see whether you can gain some intel, just to work out where the numbers lay lie for the T's at least. Let's see how they do approach it. Speedy has got the utility play for Mousesports this round. Nico's got the Desert Eagle on the pistol there. It's kind of unorthodox. It shows how confident he's feeling right now. Just wants to roll in and tag up some CTs, and Pash is actually going to be pushing in towards top middle by himself here. Will he get flashed in? He doesn't. He gets punished for it as well. Goes down to 11 HP. The call's going to come in. You can see the probably players reacting, and there it is. Chris J will finish him off.
What a huge opening 20 or so seconds of this round for Mousesports. Getting the dink on Snacks, then the frag.
Snacks on 3 HP. Pash has gone down.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the action is. What's the answer to this sort of thing? They haven't done anything towards the T's. They still have their utility. They're still ready to full execute at this point. Next, just holding up for any push through towards middle. The CTs need to find something, and you can see Bialy looking for it right now. He knows he needs to make a frag here. He needs to make something happen. It looks like he may be going down as well. Gets taken to 24 HP, and he has to retreat with his tail between his legs as well, as Mousesports are going to be making their way up towards Catwalk now.
Just desperate to land a frag here from VP's perspective. They go for the flashbang, but Bialy can't get it done. Nico's Deagle again rips on out. It's on Neo. 1 tap, 2 taps there from him. He's looking for more. It's not going to happen. And therefore, this goes into 2-on-3, and Snacks is still somehow alive. The first player to eat damage in the round after a few seconds now has to try and retake this site. They don't have a defuse kit, only a decoy for utility. And now Taz has been spotted and tagged as well. It's not looking good, is it, for VP?
It's definitely not looking good. They haven't got a kit as well. I think they did buy one, so they're going to have to try and salvage that. They have a chance. Going to be forcing up towards CT spawn here, getting their way towards Carl, but it's almost impossible at this point. It's just going to be 1 player remaining, that's Taz. He gets taken down, and the huge pistol round does go in favor of Mousesports there. I'm more than certain that VP will be force buying up into this one. Neo did real have a chance here. He gets the double headshot, just wasn't enough. The round was already over that stage. You can see Snacks' HP, and here he comes. It's actually not too much of a full force buy. You can see them keeping some money on their players. Neo has gone for the Scout, and Bialy and Taz got Desert Eagles, but they haven't purchased armor at all. Full rifle setup coming in from Mousesports there. They're kind of predicting a force buy coming in from the CTs, but I'd assume they're going to play this very methodically indeed. They want to just sit back for as long as possible. Take advantage of that new round time. We have an extra 10 seconds now in the round, so definitely work yourself, or give yourself some favor there when you in these anti-eco situations.
Absolutely. When you see right off the bat that the bomb carrier is still at T-spawn, you know it's going to be a slow round. You know they're just hoping to get a couple of opening picks. And typically that's how Mousesports have been approaching both of their halves, and it's been working for them. Snacks goes peering through mid. Easy frag in the end for Dennis. Chris J was the player that tagged him beforehand.
Just trying to wait for the CTs to make mistakes. Snacks making the first one there, brings them the man advantage. Now they can just kind of group up, work together, and just do something very simple indeed. You can see the majority of the players towards those B tunnels. If they executed towards that part of the map right now, that'd be absolutely perfect. You can just see it's Taz there alone, I think. That's just going to be him. As they're not going to have to show any presence anywhere else. They can just actually just walk into this bomb site right now. It'd take an absolute miracle for Taz to do anything out of this.
He's going to have to channel his inner Neo, that's for sure, and land 2 tasty headshots, and, well, he gets absolutely nothing for his troubles. And in doing so, that pretty much just puts the red light in the face of VP. They'd probably just back away here, I guess, and see if they can save a couple of these pistols.
Yeah, I think that you're probably right at that point. When the bomb goes down towards B, you've bought up some pistols, you've got the Scouts, etc. You're not going to get anything out of this. You can either hold patiently for some exits. I would say keep the upgraded pistols and the Scouts for next round. You see Bialy trying to sniff out lower B, see if you can find anything here. Pasha is towards T-spawn side of B tunnels. Actually does get something out of this, but I don't think he'll be saving that weapon. They know he's got it, and they want to be punishing for it. The good news for him, though, they've got Neo towards T-spawn. It's actually quite a nice little setup they've got going on, as Neo does tag another player there, and he will be just trying to survive. I was about to say, but maybe he wants a little bit more out of this. Yeah,
Neo with the Overwatch with the Scout. Pretty nice work from him. It definitely keeps the terrorists at bay as well.
Maybe he can upgrade to a Galil here as well. You can see him trying to see if he can actually grab one. Won't have time to do that, but there it is. Mousesports do take the round, but At least VP doing something with it, getting a couple of frags and saving the scout. It's something to work with at least. But we are looking down the barrel, Met. It's another upset here coming in.
Absolutely. As they say, like, it was decent work, but they're running out of time. They're running out of lifelines now, VP. It's going to get to the point next round when they buy up. That could be do or die.
Absolutely.
If they lose that round, they are up the creek without a paddle. And there's Nico just goes straight in. This is a stack on B, but Nico, ridiculous frags from him. Pasha's going to land their grenade onto Nico, but Next just walks in, bags himself 2 frags. And just like that, it's a 4-on-1, and Neo has to try and retake the site with a scout.
Yeah, Nico is doing absolute work there, securing the round for his team, walks into the bomb site, and just wrecks 2 players towards the back there. 2 simple taps, and that pretty much summed up the round there. Very impressive stuff from him. He couldn't even see that player. Bialy, sit down, my friend. Snacks gets punished as well. And we enter round number 19 here. 13 plays 5 in favor of Mousesports. Not a scoreline I think I'd be saying this game, but there it was. And Snacks does have the AWP now. Didn't invest too heavily into that force buy, so it's going to be down to him. The problem for the CTs here, they don't have any kits to work with whatsoever, so they need to be finding that first frag. Chris J has other ideas though, as he slowly edges his way into the B side, trying to find anything he can. The surprise play coming in.
Oh, Taz. Oh, Taz. You'd have fancied him to get at least 1 kill from that position. He had the drop. And then Snacks gets picked up afterwards. VP just haven't shown up in this game so far. Make that another frag. This time it's Pasha who eats another grenade.
That combo, Molotov and a grenade on your head. So when the CTs, when you know they force ball in the second round, you know the utility's not great, they won't have the incendiaries to hold off a simple play, like B play like that, you can justify just walking into sides and surprising players at that point. Taz there by himself in a 3-on-1, like I said, probably could have got at least 1 out of that, but gets taken down by Dennis, and that was when the deficit began. They only had 1 player committed to that side of the map. The retake tried to come in, but it's great usage of the incendiaries and grenades combo as well was fantastic from Mousesports. Just giving Neo remaining. He does get taken down, and Mousesports go 14-5. They're in Germany in front of a home crowd, and it looks like they're actually performing as well. Very impressive stuff from them so far.
And Snacks is 3 for 18. I cannot remember.
He was
a
the
time.
player at Sevo finals. He absolutely destroyed Mousesports.
Yeah.
He was like getting like 30 frags every single map, it felt like. And now he hasn't turned up whatsoever. 3 frags after 20 rounds. That's kind of nuts.
He was ranked 4th.
There's a revolver out.
And he's got a revolver as well, yeah. I don't even know what's going on at this point. Molotov's going to do quite a bit of damage.
Okay. It's finally happened. I was actually thinking today, have we seen a revolver come out in a pro game at all in the last few months since it was actually added in? And you can see Snacks going against the meta. He wants to show it's a viable weapon. Let's see what you can do, Snacks. It's going to come down to you with this revolver. Maybe it's the secret weapon here.
Well, we said before that round 19 was pretty much do or die as far as VP were concerned. It seems like die is the only option now, as this round is going to very quickly slip away.
Come on, Snacks. This is it.
Right, 1v5 revolver clutch. Let's go.
What is this weapon?
Oh.
It's so bad. I've never seen anyone take that over a Desert Eagle. That's kind of crazy, but maybe we'll see it come into it more in 2016. People will learn how to use it effectively, but that definitely did not work out for him. So Mousesports now map points and 10 rounds to play with to find the one. You can see once again VP have got the double orb set up once more, so maybe they can do something with this. They're going to require an absolute astonishing performance to get themselves back into this game, but never say never with these guys.
Well, I said Mousesports had a chance to win this game. I did not expect it to be this one-sided at all. I thought VP would at least take them to the limits, but it has been a landslide victory so far. And as VP has an ace up their sleeve, which needs to be pulled out right now, Chris J. Wow. Oh my goodness. Outreacting Neo, completely shreks him.
Yeah.
And for VP, it pretty much is all over now.
This has been a story of this entire match. It seems like Mousesports are very good at getting these initial frags. Bialy does answer back. He takes down Nico onto the bomb site, brings it down to the 4-on-4. What can they do? You can see Bialy is very low indeed. As Snacks has actually got himself in a decent position, but the problem is Bialy will be waiting for him behind these long doors. This shouldn't be a frag that Snacks can get, and there it is. It's actually Speedy that takes him down there. And a huge retake coming in for the Polish side out.
Mouse have been on point so far in this first map of the tournament for them. Pasha, though, is going to try and do something for his team. He's not going to get anything done, and there we go. Mousesports take it. Not only the map, Henry, but in convincing fashion. 16-5.
Impeccable stuff there from Mousesports. So we saw FaZe take down Luminosity, and now we have Mousesports taking down Virtus.Pro. We haven't seen Virtus.Pro in a while, but I still favored them going into this one. Like you said, at least give them a decent game. 16-5. That's a crazy scoreline going forward. You can see what it means to the guys here. Mousesports going through a little turbulent time in 2015, changing rosters quite a lot. Now they've brought Speedy back, removed God B. Nico calling, and you can't really argue with the results so far. It may only be a best of 1 on Dust 2. I feel like that's a map Virtus.Pro. That was their downfall, to be honest. It's a map we commonly say they don't really play. A lot of people have been saying it's one they've been kind of working on and they're trying to make it a thing, but if you're playing like that, their T-sub is very poor in my opinion. They were losing the first frag over and over again. They didn't seem to have the executions or the economy management to actually get into those rounds. It was difficult to watch at points.
Oh, it definitely was. And for me, the key thing is Snacks. I think he finished on 3 frags in an entire map.
He's considered, what, the 4th best player of 2015. He's normally their talisman in terms of fragging. That's not every day you can say after a complete series he finishes on 3 frags. Obviously, it's an anomaly. I don't think that would be the trend going forward. They're not out of the tournament yet, but let's hope they can pick things up.
Absolutely. So we're going to send it back to the analysts over on the desk. Take it away, guys.
I mean, we sit here and talk, but I don't know if we're analyzing, because you guys are 0 for 2.
That's not true.
Oh.
We're over 2 in predictions, but we're quite right. We talk about how are Mousesports going to win, if they're going to win this, even though it's unlikely.
I told you it's possible, but, you know, not plausible, but it still happened. So
That's not a correct prediction.
No, the prediction is right.
No, the result is wrong, but, you know,
the analysis.
The analysis is there.
The aggression was a lot of the part of that, and VP never really getting set up. We also talked about which VP would show up. I don't think anyone showed up on
and
VP.
you brought this to the point as well, like how important is Chris going to be for Mousesports? Is he going to be able to find openings? Is he going to make Nico's job of in-game leading a lot easier? And he did. Like in a massive way.
His scout. I think he's still the best scout player in the world. Like 2 headshots in 2 separate rounds from the car position.
Definitely. Like he's been crazy with that gun all the time. Although I would put MBK up there as well with the scout. But yeah, and all of those, you know, most of those frags were really high impact. They were, you know, frags which led to his team winning the round because of them. So great performance from all of the players.
Yeah.
Everyone showed up, and you know, Chris J had those kills. Nico had a couple of good rounds.
Dennis
was great on the rotations and, you know, cleaning up the rounds. I mean, basically what needed to happen for Mousesports happened. They won both pistols. They got to a good start. I was pleasantly surprised by their early aggression on the city side. Even though they lost the first 2 gun rounds, they tried to push B. They tried to push Catwalk. They didn't want to let, you know, VP bring their game to them. Yeah. So yeah, I was really positively surprised by that.
Yeah, no, me too. And I think the small mistakes that Mousesports did with the aggressive pushes on their buy rounds, the first couple of buy rounds, it's not massive. It's something you can easily fix as well, because you saw that parts of the aggressive moves they put up, they were good. You just don't need to be as aggressive on every part of the map at the same time. You can just go with 1 or 2 of them, and that's going to give you something to work with going further anyway. I think it's safe to say that VP did not work on Dust 2 during the break.
I think it's safe to say they might not have worked on much.
Yeah, no, I think they'd kind of been in holiday modus.
We'll talk about that. We're going to come back to that, because you guys mentioned that Dust 2 probably shouldn't have gone through that pool. You expected
we thought they were baiting us to, like, oh, they're leaving it in for last.
Exactly.
You know, so daring.
They baited themselves on.
Yeah.
Wrecked. Well, the man who did not bait himself, and one we already touched on having a great game, is Chris J. He's standing by with Paula.
Chris J, congratulations first off. 16-5, relatively comfortable. I did ask you beforehand, did it feel easy? And you said it wasn't exactly the case.
Like, the score says it was an easy game, like 16-5, they only got 5 rounds, sure. But we had to play our best game. I think we played close to our best game, and that made it look easy, but big props to my teammates, and yeah, we hope to continue like this.
Was there anything in particular that you guys did or thought of coming into the map that, you know, brought you guys the victory?
Well, on Dust 2, we had some struggles on CT side lately. Some of our players don't feel so confident on their spots. So we did change some positions. We played a bit different style than usual, which maybe caught VP a bit off guard. So yeah, might have been the key.
Were you happy with the fact that it ended up being a Dust 2 game? Because, you know, VP can sometimes be a bit inconsistent on that map, and you guys, you know, you have a very strong aiming kind of team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were happy with Dust 2. I mean, especially I am happy with Dust 2 always. I really like to play the map, and I also know VP were never that good on Dust 2. Lately they've been playing it a lot more, and I have become better, but still we feel that we have an edge against them, and I think it showed.
Now, you're going to play the winner of Dignitas Astralis. I just looked over the guy's shoulders, and I think Astralis are quite a way out ahead on the T side, but you never know what could happen. Who would you prefer to play out of the two?
I would rather play Astralis because they're the better team, and I want to beat the better team.
I mean, if it did come down to that, you know, what would be the thought process going in, playing Astralis, who are at the moment, you know, in pretty good form?
Like we would just play to win. I mean, Astralis, I think we've never beaten the old TSM lineup or whatever that team name was back then. We never beat them on LAN before, at least I did not, and I'm pretty sure none of my teammates did. So it's maybe a bit of a hurdle for us to overcome them, but we're excited for that match if it's going to happen.
Being part of a German organization, playing in Leipzig, is it nice to have the crowd behind you and supporting you?
Yeah, sure, it's awesome. I mean, we love the support from the fans and we thrive on it, so.
Yeah, I mean, looking by that performance, it did play a part because you had the cheers and stuff every time you guys were doing well. Going forwards from here, how far do you think you guys can go in this competition?
I mean, now that we beat VP, we want to get to the semifinals. I mean, we wanted that before. That's our main goal, to get through the groups, and after that, we're just going to do our best. Hopefully the crowd will push us to the end.
And just quickly, before we head over to the desk, how integral to your form at the moment was it changing the player out, you know, losing God B?
I don't know. I mean, players just played good. Everybody stepped up. Maybe Fatih could also have stepped up here, but right now he's not here, and we're doing good without him.
All right, well, congratulations, Chris. Best of luck in whoever you play next, and I'm sure I will see you later in the competition.
Yeah.
Until then, we will head back over to Matt and the guys on the desk.
Yeah, thank you so much, Paula. And yeah, great game from Chris J as well. Mousesports, they now move into the upper bracket. Astralis apparently leading that second game, so potential opponent. Where do we start with this, guys? I mean, there's a lot to talk about in terms of what went wrong for VP.
Yeah, and one thing that Chris mentioned is the fact that it might have looked extremely comfortable, but they felt that they had to play up to their best. I want to say that there were definitely opportunities for VP to get a lot more rounds on their T side, and that's partly because Mousesports' defense at times, especially towards that A-bomb site, was at best shaky. I think we have a clip that's going to come up later that you're going to talk about, but they had a really weird way of how they solved giving up long control without even grabbing cat control, which is pretty much a cardinal sin when you're playing that bomb site.
There were a couple of rounds where Mouse got not just one, maybe even 2 entry kills, and then they would still give up control of a site, and it would come to an after plan situation, and then it would end up in a 2v1 or something. It would be really close. There was there were, as you said, there were a number of possibilities for VP to win rounds where they weren't supposed to have, any place in them. And we talked about Mousesports needing a good start. They got a decent start by winning a pistol, but they lost the 3 following round. So it was 3-3 at that point. It's the T's favor basically. But luckily for Mouse, they managed to get a lot of kills in those eco rounds as well. So the pressure on VP's economy was there. And then they just, their players were on point. They would get like Nico, Chris J, next. They would manage to get those early entry kills, which then, gives you a lot more room to later on in the round to defend.
Yeah, and one thing you mentioned as well off camera, the fact that you spoke to Nico obviously before the game, and we were talking about how VP have previously played that CT side on this 2. They like to go aggressively, and we saw that in the pistol round as well. They went aggressively instantly with 2 players, and that's something that Nico had told you that we're expecting this.
Yeah.
So he's going to buy Deagle, and everyone's just going to sit like a static turret and wait for people to run into them, and that's exactly what happened.
You could see that they had 2 players outside long A and 2 players in B tunnels, and they were just waiting for someone to push and get info and wanted to punish them. That's what they did. I think he had shot at someone through the door or something. I think he left snacks on 3 HP, and they already killed 1 guy. So from that point on, it's basically a 5v3. And even though Neo had a good spot, got 2 crazy headshots, in the end it was just not enough. The site was overwhelmed. And what Chris J also mentioned in that interview, which is really important in top-level Counter-Strike, is mentality and confidence. Seeing that VP actually allowed Dust 2 to go through gave a boost of confidence to the Mouse players as well, because of 2 things. They know that VP is not as good on that map. Maybe even if VP improved, they still believe that they're not as good, and they enjoy playing that map as well, which gave them a big boost of confidence going into the map.
Let's look into some of the specifics. Vendetta, you'd highlighted a specific round, a B split with the Tech 9s.
Yeah, so this is where this is an eco Tech 9 buy from VP, and here you're going to see Nico getting caught out in mid. And this is where me and Yanko talked to ourselves, and like, this is where everything falls down for Mousesports, because their defense up till this point had been so shaky over on that A bomb side, and they just get completely dismantled by a pretty common push. This is something that, well, a lot of teams have in their playbook, really, and you can see, well...
And they had 3 players towards the B side, so it was Nico who was usually playing A, and the 2 guys in B, and it was a quasi-buy from VP. They just got a couple of pistols and a smoke and a flash, and as you said, like, Nico got caught off guard, they overwhelmed the side, they couldn't decide on which, you know, part of the side they want to focus on.
Yeah, and that's oftentimes a problem when you get B-split. You need to give up one of the entry points most of the time. Either you have to have both of your players, because normally you play 2 people towards B, you have to have both of them focus on either the mid area to stop the split, or just focus pushing aggressively in towards upper dark and just taking control over that area. So it allows for your retake to be a lot more effective.
Because you basically have 2 people needing to watch three entrances.
Yeah, and that's just impossible.
Yeah, and the thing is, luckily for Mouse, they won the following round when they were on a kind of an eco. So
well, we've got another clip as well that you highlighted, YNK, Mouse pushing up long.
Yeah, so this is an example of how, you know, Mouse initially wanted to go for the long control, and you can see this player gets forced back. VP gets the control of it, but Mouse doesn't have like cat control either, so now they try to, you know, adjust. They send Chris J out to push towards cat. They also smoke off, but you see that VP went for a fast split. They're already there. Chris J gets the kill, immediately gets traded off, and look at the position of Mouse players now in this moment. They don't have long, they don't have side, they don't have short. They have 3 players stuck at the CT area, you know, which is a terrible spot to be in. So I'm not sure if they, at the beginning of this round, actually wanted to boost the player on the boxes towards CT spawn to defend from a B split, because we only saw that one guy towards long, and everyone else was on that slope from CT spawn to A ramp. But the thing is, my point here is, you have to realize that you don't have cat control, that you don't have time to get cat control if you give up long. So you realize in what position you are. Just stand there and fight for it, do the best you can. That player on long, try to buy some time, get a kill for the other players to rotate there as well, because you can't, if you get pinched from both positions, and there's no way for you to win that round afterwards.
And this was a recurring theme with the A defense, and this is why we were kind of worried from Mousesports' part a long time going in through that first half, because they did this mistake constantly. But luckily for them, VP didn't punish them.
And the difference is, in this particular case, VP had still all of the 5 players alive. In other situations, they already were a man or 2 down, so it was easier for Mousesports to retake.
Let's move it forward a little bit there, because we've got about 15 minutes to our next game. We'll look at the bracket, the updated bracket, as it now lies in Group B. It's Virtus.Pro that have dropped down into what's being called the losers match. It's a harsh way of putting it, but hey, let's face it, they didn't turn up at all. Mousesports will play the winner of Astralis versus Dignitas, and it looks like that will be the new organization, the XTSM X Astralis lineup. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, because that will be our second best of 1 coming up. But right now, in about 15 minutes time, guys, we do move into Na'Vi versus FaZe. Obviously, we'll have a lot more time to talk about it when we arrive, but just initial thoughts on that game.
Well, if FaZe can play like they did on Inferno, it should be a pretty interesting game. Navi's still big favorites in my eyes, and I expect Na'Vi to come out of tops in this group.
For me, it's the same scenario as the FaZe Luminosity game, because also even more so because Na'Vi and Luminosity have a similar playstyle. So same story for FaZe, need to keep up their current level of performance, need a good start, most definitely. But for me, I agree, Na'Vi are still the favorites to win that one.
G2, now FaZe, is a pretty scary momentum team. We saw it, and the reason I mentioned it as G2 is because we saw it from that exact lineup at Cluj when they had Dennis. So interesting thought and best of 1s that if they get rolling early, we could see a Na'Vi Luminosity deciding match. Whereas I thought that would be the best of 1 to decide who takes first seed in the group. So interesting thought for FaZe.
Hope not.
Wow. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if they can come up with it. Map pool, just quickly again, we're going to get more into this in a second, but is that something that has to be considered, to G2, or I'm going to keep saying this, but to FaZe, try and get back onto something like Inferno that's momentum-based, or is Na'Vi going to be aware of that now?
Yeah, but I think that Na'Vi is probably going to ban it out, because it's most of the time it's their second ban after Cash, and I think that FaZe is going to be forced to ban all of the customs, because Na'Vi plays them all
and they're
pretty
really
well.
At it,
So we're going to end up on probably something like Mirage. I think that's like there's the biggest chance of playing Mirage.
All right, guys, well, we'll find out in just a minute. We're going to take a short break, and then, of course, when we come back, it is exactly that game. FaZe versus Na'Vi, both with one under their belt already, and Na'Vi was a little bit more convincing, but mind you, FaZe, they showed up in spades against the team Luminosity that we thought surely would take game one. So the New Jerseys, maybe some luck in them. We'll be back in just a minute.